Hello everyone. Today I am going to show you how to install Flutter on Windows for Android Studio and Visual Studio Code. First, on your browser, go to flutter.io, choose the Get Started and select Windows from the installation screen and make sure that you met all the system requirements. Now download the latest Flutter SDK. As of now, I am using the 1.0.0 stable version. Save it to your computer and open the folder where it is downloaded. Now extract the content of the zip file to a folder where you want the SDK to be installed. I choose C/SDK as my SDK folder. You can choose any folder you want. Now navigate to the folder Flutter and you can see bin, dev, and different kinds of folders are there in that one. Open a command prompt there in the Flutter folder. Flutter comes with a command called Flutter Doctor. You can use that command to check the status of the Flutter installation. Flutter Doctor is there under bin folder. Navigate to the bin folder and type Flutter Doctor. So that it would give you a detailed information of which all things are installed, which all things are not installed, and the status of the installation. As you can see that Android Studio was not installed and VS Code is set up, but the Flutter plugin is not set up for that. I would recommend setting up the path for the Flutter installation in the system environment, and that's what we are going to do now. Copy path to the bin folder and open system environment. We will use the environment variables to set system as well as user configuration. So we want to modify the path variable there in the user configuration. As you can see, the path is currently not set. So what we will do is we will add one more entry to that field, and all the executable and scripts under the bin folder would be now available to all the applications which are running for the particular user profile. Make sure that the path is being set correctly by executing the path command on the command prompt. This is important as we would be using only single Flutter SDK for both Android Studio project as well as Visual Studio Code. Now that the path being set correctly, we can validate Flutter Doctor from anywhere in the system for the particular user profile and verify the Flutter installation status. As we can see here, the Android Studio is not installed and the Visual Studio Code is not being set up correctly. So that's what we are going to do next. If you don't have Android Studio installed, go ahead and install Android Studio. For the sake of simplicity, I'm not covering the installation of Android Studio in this session. Now that we have installed Android Studio, we will try to configure the Flutter plugin for Android Studio. To do that, first we have to do is we have to select the settings from the config menu. So under settings, you have a plugin section. And there type Flutter and perform a search in the repositories. Choose Flutter from the list and select install. So what it would do is it would just pop up a warning dialog, select accept, and the Android Studio would automatically detect whether the Flutter needs any other additional dependencies. As you have seen that the Flutter needs Dart, so Android Studio will automatically install the Dart plugin also. Restart Android Studio once the installation is done so that the plugin would be loaded correctly in the Android Studio. Execute the Flutter Doctor command and verify that the plugin for Android Studio is installed correctly. What we can see here is that the SDK is configured correctly, but we haven't accepted the license. To accept the license, run Flutter Doctor again with Android licenses as the argument. So that will ask you to accept a bunch of end user license agreement. Accept all the license agreement, and Android Studio is now configured with Flutter SDK. We will now test the SDK installation by creating a sample Flutter application on Android Studio. To create a Flutter application, choose Start a new Flutter project from the menu. Provide all the details there in that application. Flutter by default takes the default SDK path, which is now c/sdk/flutter for me. Enter the company name, click finish. So it might take a while based on your machine configuration for the project to be configured. So what you can see here is that you have a main.dart file created by default by the framework. Once all the background processing is completed and the project is loaded, we can run this one on any Android device. In order to run this one on a simulator, we need to have a simulator installed. Refer the Flutter documentation for installing and running a Flutter application on any Android devices or simulators. Now that we have created a sample Flutter application on Android Studio, we can jump right onto configuration on Visual Studio Code. To configure Flutter on Visual Studio Code, start Visual Studio Code and choose the extension manager, and type Flutter there in the extension manager and select Flutter from the drop down list. Select install. It might take a while to install the Flutter and all the associated dependencies for Visual Studio Code. Once the installation is completed, reload the Visual Studio Code editor so that the extensions are reloaded correctly. You can load your project as a single project or as multiple projects under a single folder. Here what you can see is that we have an Android Studio project folder where all the Android Studio projects would be listed. So one way to do that is open the Android Studio projects folder so that all the Flutter applications or all the Flutter projects under the particular projects would be listed there. And another way to do that is loading it as a single folder. So what does that mean is it will have only one application there in the workspace. So as you can see, when you open a Android Studio project folder which has a number of subfolders or sub applications, then the workspace name is given as Android Studio projects. Or it takes a parent directory name and provide that one to the workspace name. So on the other hand, if you open only single application, then the workspace won't be having any particular name selected for that one. So this is one way you can import any Android Studio project or projects onto Visual Studio Code. As you can see, here we can add any number of projects or folders to the workspace, and it might not be having a name, but once you save the workspace, you can give a name for that one, which is pretty much useful if you have multiple projects scattered across different locations but needed to be added under a separate workspace. Use the inbuilt terminal in the Visual Studio Code to execute any bash commands or any commands directly in the editor itself. You don't have to open a separate terminal window in order to execute that. Make sure to execute the Flutter Doctor command and verify the SDK is installed correctly for Visual Studio Code. That's it. The SDK is now configured correctly. You can now start using VS Code for Flutter development. Thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Hit a thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.